From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Higher bus fares and energy prices. Those are the fears unions and opposition parties are raising as the government looks into potentially selling off its own businesses. The Premier also confirming the scope of which GBEs may be on the chopping block is bigger than first revealed.
It's the bombshell announcement sending shockwaves across the state. The Communications, Electrical and Plumbing Union fearing Tasmanians will pay a hefty price if the government pulls the plug on its ownership of TasNetworks.
Blackouts due to lack of maintenance, higher prices for consumers.
Sparky's also worried about what it means for their careers.
They think that their jobs potentially are on the chopping block.
And energy isn't the only concern.
Won't your plan to privatise Metro see more services cut and higher fares for passengers?
Working through what we outlined yesterday may well, and I expect to lead to better services.
But in a stunning admission in Parliament today, the Premier confirming the scope of which government businesses will be privatised is bigger than first thought.
Is Hydro the only GBE or state-owned company that is fully off the table?
We will look at every single GBE.
The opposition not buying into the plan as the government scrambles to find a way to pay down its mounting debt.
You have wrecked the budget and now plan to sell some of Tasmania's most valuable assets to try and cover up your mess.
I've outlined our plan for Tasmania's future, how we get our budget to a pathway to surplus. You have no plan.
Renowned independent economist Sol Eslake is tasked at looking if privatising any GBEs is worthwhile. Tasmania's Peak Business Group believes it could be.
It's not just about efficiency and it's not just about financial outcomes, but new business models, new ways to do things.
Though the Premier might have a tough time convincing those across the political aisle.
Privatisation is a sugar hit to a budget. It's not a long-term sustainable position for our finances.
I will engage in this debate, but there are examples not only across Australia but across the world where privatisations of public assets has gone terribly.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
The opposition leader has weighed in on the Premier's State of the State speech, taking aim at the Liberals' record over its past decade in power. Dean Winter highlighting problems with red tape holding back late-night venues, challenges in health and his party's support for more job creation opportunities.
I offer Tasmanians new leadership, a plan with a vision for the future, a plan to deliver the change that Tasmania needs.
But Treasurer Guy Barnett hit back in a statement, slamming Labor for lacking solutions to the issues the party criticises the government on. The government is taking drastic measures to reduce Tasmania's state service to what it says will be the right size. It's establishing an efficiency and productivity unit, but little details have been revealed on where the hiring freezes and job losses will happen.
A new unit reporting directly to the Premier and Treasurer, tasked with assessing how viable all government services are to Tasmania.
We want to cut government waste wherever it is across the public service. It's entirely appropriate to have an audit by these experts in the efficiency and productivity unit.
The EPU will also look at how to run state services more efficiently and save money, but it means job cuts to those deemed non-essential, and just who falls into that category is a mystery.
We've got ambulance ramping and we've got the longest emergency waiting times in the country, and yet the government won't rule out cutting allied health.
The heads of our agencies are very competent, capable, professional people. They will be making those decisions.
While the hiring of doctors and nurses are prioritised despite the public sector freeze, hospital staff like pharmacists, physios and speech pathologists say their role is just as vital.
When allied health professionals are doing their jobs really well, we probably aren't even noticed because we do all of the stuff that is essential, but you don't realise has to happen in the background.
With fears patient backlogs will worsen.
One of our main roles is getting patients out of hospital and keeping them out of hospital.
The community and public sector unions say the impact of Tasmania's allied workforce extends far beyond hospital walls. Vulnerable Tasmanians set to be the ones to suffer.
They're central to the protection and care of children. They help women who are escaping family violence, and they support our first responders.
Members of the Efficiency and Productivity Unit are yet to be appointed. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
After a nail-biting recount between 4 candidates, former Labor leader Rebecca White's replacement in the seat of Lyons has been unveiled. Casey Farrell entered Parliament with Labor colleagues by his side, sworn in after he was declared the winner by the Electoral Commission last night. He says he's eager to hit the ground running.
Priorities for me at the moment are to, get my feet under the desk, really understand how everything operates in here, get a really good understanding for who's who, for what's going on. I think it's a really exciting time to come into the Parliament.
The new MP is the son of Legislative Council President Craig Farrell. Hobart residents are being called on to have their say on a new ferry terminal pitch for Sandy Bay. Lords Beach dubbed the preferred location for the development, which would feature a kiosk and bike storage. Students from the Eastern Shore could be some of those making use of the ferry.
We do have our problems with Sandy Bay Road, and we also have our problems probably with the bridge as well. So we do have students that will arrive late.
We're really keen to hear from everybody who might use the ferry, whether it's to get to school or university, or whether it's as a Sandy Bay resident.
Federal funding has been secured for 2 other terminals set to be built at Wilkinson's Point and at Lindisfarne. Construction on Hobart Airport's runway upgrade is on the home stretch, with around 65% of the revamp completed. It means the return of flights to Antarctica, providing direct access for Australia's polar and research programs.
Hobart Airport is well and truly in the midst of a major facelift.
We've put down 20,000 square metres of new aircraft pavement. That's about the same size as the MCG.
Laying about 60,000 tonnes of asphalt, with another 45 tonnes to go. Upgrades to the runway means planes like this C-17 can resume flights to Antarctica.
Over the summer we've been rebuilding our aircraft parking bays to cater for the larger wide-body aircraft. What's that meant is we basically haven't had a space for them to park.
But if you're hoping to jump aboard one of these flights to tick off an item on the bucket list, there's some bad news.
Flights to Antarctica are research flights operated for the Australian Antarctic Division. These flights aren't for public.
But there is some good news for those looking to travel overseas. The revamp allowing the airport to explore direct flights to Asia.
The key destinations we're targeting are Singapore and Hong Kong.
The opportunity music to the ears for the Federal Agricultural Minister and member for Franklin.
Importantly for freight, also for Tasmania's primary producers to be able to get their freight to the Asian markets faster and quicker, thereby getting a premium price.
As for the runway, those in charge are confident there won't be any unexpected turbulence along the way.
At the moment, the project's tracking on time and on budget.
This is a $130 million project and the federal government has put in $60 million.
The upgrade is expected to be finished by June this year. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
New renders have revealed how UTAS Stadium could look in 2027 if a proposed revamp goes ahead. The $130 million project will feature a new centre west stand, expanded seating in existing stands, plus new public amenities. The development application lodged with Launceston City Council also claims a decades-old Dutch elm tree on site does not meet planning significance criteria to save it from removal. Works are expected to commence in July. Well, Merv is back out on the road, taking in what you can see locally as part of Tourism Tasmania's Longer Days offering. And Merv, I can't keep up with where you are these days, but apparently tonight you're at Tulla.
And lucky me, Kim, I found myself today at Tulla Lakeside Lodge, and with me, the Chief Executive Officer of Visitor Experience, Jenny. How are you, Jenny?
Well, thank you, Merv.
That is your title, isn't it? Don't tell me it's not. We're in a great spot here.
We certainly are, Merv. Tulla is perfectly placed right in the centre of the West Coast, so it's nice and handy to go down up to the Cradle or go down to Strawn to Queenie. It's right where you need to be.
And right here, out the back, Lake Rosebery.
Absolutely. Lake Rosebery in itself is a treasure. We've got plenty of fishing, lovely trout, kayaking opportunities, platypus. It's just sublime.
And inside, of course, you've got the most photographed fire in Tasmania. This one.
Indeed. We have guests ask us to light this fire in the middle of summer because it's all about the ambience.
Which is what I've just done, of course. And if you want to know anything about the west coast of Tasmania, talk to Jenny, because she knows it all, don't you, Jenny?
I do indeed. Not really.
Kim, somebody actually called me a know-it-all the other day, but I already knew that.
No, leave that alone. The 5 Tasmanian individuals and organisations involved in suicide prevention will receive recognition for their work at the Life Awards 20th anniversary next week. Almost 30 nominees have been put forward across a range of categories for supporting those affected by suicide.
Most people who work in suicide prevention, and particularly at a community level, are incredibly humble people. They don't necessarily do the work to seek out recognition, but what they do is actually amazing.
And it took me a few months to actually sit and then reflect on the important and life-saving work that I've been involved in, and that others that my peers have also been involved in.
The Life Awards will take place in Launceston on March 12. A record number have entered this year's Glover Prize, one of Australia's most prestigious landscape art awards. But even before the big winner is announced, the hangers have had their say.
A comment on climate change. This acrylic on canvas piece by Western Australian artist Lauren Kennedy, selected for the Glover Prize's Hangers' Choice Award.
We just love the calm colours, and it reminded us very much of a French Impressionist painting.
Inspired by a cruise the artist took around Bruny Island.
The guide mentioned how the seas around Bruny Island were being impacted by climate change.
Including how species previously only observed near Darwin have begun to appear in southern Tasmania's waters.
Our decisions are very much based on just gut instinct rather than, sort of artistic merit.
8 hangers, narrowing down the expansive field to 4 pieces before unanimously agreeing upon Kennedy's shifting waters.
None of us are art critics, we're just art appreciators.
This year's exhibition displaying a distinctively abstract flavour compared to previous years.
We really enjoyed unwrapping the paintings this year because they were so diverse.
Come Friday evening, Avondale's Falls Park Pavilion will be packed with canvas connoisseurs for the sold-out awards night. Launceston artist Leonie Duff is making a comeback to the Glover after missing out for several years, putting the finishing touches on her piece, Blood Moon Rising.
It's kind of a bit of a statement about the times we live in, the dangerous developments in the world.
One of many hopeful artists looking for industry recognition. Tom Crosby, 7 Tasmania News.
More than 4,000 pull-ups in less than 11 hours. That's the incredible feat achieved by a Tasmanian graphic designer while training for a world record attempt. Despite smashing the target, she's not stopping yet.
It started with a challenge from husband Mike.
I thought, why not? I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
And so Olivia Vincent set off to beat the 24-hour pull-up world record of 4,081, set in Poland 4 years ago. 4 months of training helped finesse the technique.
I was overexerting on my left side and I wasn't using my right side enough. And once we'd actually figured that out, and we'd actually figured out pulling evenly with both arms, it made a huge difference.
The victory coming somewhat unexpectedly during a training run, a 12-hour endurance test, sailing past the 24-hour record in just 11 hours, completing 4,466. And for the record, she did take breaks, a whole 45 seconds at a time.
As time went on, they started to get faster and faster. I had niggles that I needed to take care of, hands started getting blisters and that sort of thing. So yeah, figuring that out within that 45 seconds, not a lot of time to chill out before needing to jump back up and go again.
She's not done, still planning to pull off an entire 24 hours of pull-ups, hoping to pass 6,000.
We'll take the past 12 hours, make a plan for the 24 hours and see how we can attack that.
With all these thousands of pull-ups, it seems unlikely this record's ever going to be eclipsed. Although Olivia knows someone's going to try. One thing's for certain though, it's not going to be me.
Oh, I'm sure they will at some point. And that is totally fine because I feel like what I've achieved, I genuinely didn't think would be possible for me.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News. Cyclone Alfred might have been creating some brilliant waves up on the Gold Coast this week, but the escalating conditions have prompted the postponement of this weekend's Australian Board Riders Battle Grand Final, featuring teams from South Arm and North East Board Riders clubs. They'll instead head up to Burleigh Heads in April, days out from Tassie's West Coast Classic, paving the way for a big week of competition for our local surfers.
It's a good opportunity, one, as a board riders clubs to compete against each other, but also we're all mates at the end of the day, so to go away, compete, train and practice at an elite level gives us hopefully an opportunity to follow it up the following weekend.
The Merriwa Comp marks the 50th West Coast Classic, expecting top surfers from around the country with points on offer for state team selections. Freshly cleared by the ICC for his bowling action, Test star Matt Kuhnemann provides a much-needed boost as he returns to the Tigers for their must-win Shield clash against Queensland. Niv Radhakrishnan keeps his spot in the 14-man squad when Tassie hosts the Bulls at Ninja Stadium from tomorrow. Melbourne United is through to the NBL's Championship Series after an all-time classic, sealed by an unstoppable performance from Launceston's Chris Goulding. He scored 30 points, helping United take the lead before the Wildcats drew level, a foul opening the door for Goulding to sink the winning point with less than a second on the clock. They play the winner of Illawarra and South East Melbourne tonight.
Hello again and welcome back to Tulla Lakeside Lodge, where we're having...
I've got your knock-off drink for you.
Oh, Jenny, thank you very much. I haven't knocked off yet, but give it 2 minutes, eh?
Not a problem at all. And I've got to say, I forgot to mention something earlier. Tulla has its own steam engine, 2-foot Fowler, heritage 100-year-old machine, wee Georgie Wood, and people do need to come and have a ride on our little man.
And have a chat to Jenny as well. It'll be an hour's chat, but, have a chat just the same. Speaking of the weather, let's have a look at what's happened today around the state. And Hobart, a warm 28 today. Launceston recorded 27, Devonport 23 and Burnie a top of 24. And Tulla reached 25 as we enjoy the fact that the lake is now partially reopened for action and ready for your visit. Bushy Park Canoes 29, Grove 28, Flinders Island 26, Strawn 25, Lyawini, St Helens and King Island all 24. We did have some early cloud over the north today. That cleared ahead of a thin band of cloud that moved in later over the west. Cloud with that front to our west will decay somewhat tomorrow as the opposite occurs off Brisbane, with Tropical Cyclone Alfred pushing cloud to just north of Sydney. Tomorrow we sit between two high pressure cells, of course all eyes on Alfred right there near Brisbane. The winds over our region will be mostly south to southeasterly and as strong as 20 to 30 knots, swells to 3 metres in southern waters. We have a strong wind warning for waters from Low Rocky Point around the north and down to Wyglass Bay. Tomorrow for Hobart, a partly cloudy 19, 20 the top for Cygnet, bit of cloud for New Norfolk and 22 degrees. Launceston 24 and partly cloudy, Devonport a high of 23 and 21 the top for Campbelltown. Burnie expecting 22, partly cloudy for Strawn 22, bit of cloud for Smithton 23 the maximum. St Helens tomorrow a high of 19, a cloudy day. The chance of a shower for Swansea 19 also the top for Fingal. On Friday a fine day for most of the state with light winds. A sunny day on Saturday after morning valley fog, and on Sunday possible showers over the north and east as temperatures push up. New Norfolk expecting 32 degrees. Sunny and hot in Perth tomorrow, some cloud over Adelaide and Melbourne, showers and 27 in Sydney, cyclonic of course in Brisbane, heavy falls and 26 degrees. And current conditions here in Tulla, absolutely perfect for touring around. Doesn't matter if it's rain, hail or sunshine, there's something terrific to do and see here in Tulla and along the west coast of Tasmania. Need a few ideas? Go to Discover Tasmania /longer days. Plenty of ideas for anybody to get out and about and discover some of the things in our own backyard here in Tasmania. Kim, knock off time, back to you.
Thanks, Murph. I'm sure that glass is just a prop full of blackcurrant juice.